Did you enjoy Hearthstone but didn't want to have to collect hundreds of cards depicting strange Warcraft characters you didn't know to have a nice competitive rage-inducing good time? Well, now you can finally rediscover your kleptomania and collect hundreds of cards depicting Marvel characters you don't know for a slightly different competitive rage-inducing good time with a game made by the same guy, Marvel Snap. Dive into your phone, tablet, or even PC as you pick up yet another free-to-play game that entices you with half a dozen in-game currencies, tens of thousands of levels to reach, and hundreds of collectible cards ready to fight and die at the whim of your questionable tactics. Start out building a deck from a collection of all of your favorite Marvel characters like Captain America, Wolverine, and this guy that's apparently just a bunch of bees, and take to the 3-row battlefield in an attempt to conquer at least 2/3 of it for a full-on victory. All you have to do is have more power on your side of the row than the other guy has on theirs, and you've kicked at least 33% of an ass. But these cards aren't just a pile of power points and energy cost. Many of them have an added ability ranging from mostly forgettable to absolutely game-breaking. Whether they're making your cards stronger, enemy cards weaker, destroying half of the shit on the board, or sending it flying into the abyss before it even hits the playfield, each one can make or break your entire strategy in a single move. All to make those 3 little lanes the best place for your cards to live their lives and the opposition's cards to suffer in anguish. But those lanes aren't quite as innocent as they seem. After each of the first 3 turns, they'll reveal an effect that can either power up your deck like 1,000 butt injections of Ivan Drago steroids or absolutely destroy it like 1,000 Ivan Drago punches to the face. Sometimes it'll erase the majority of the board, leaving you to duke it out nose to nose for a 1-lane winner-take-all frenzy. There's even a situation where the AI can take over your deck and play it like it just did a bunch of salvia and thought this was Yu-Gi-Oh! Whether it's the power of the playfield, the mystery of what your opponent will play next, or your own incredible backflip somersault McTwists of failure, you'll be inundated with an astounding array of ways to lose any given match. But just how much you lose is determined by one of the most interesting dynamics in a competitive game, the snap. Just like Thanos' snap in Avengers cut everything in half, this snap doubles your commitment of points to the eventual outcome of the match. So rather than just winning 2 points, you can potentially win 4, and if your opponent snaps in harmony, a full 8 points will be awarded, giving you more than one whole change of rank. Climbing this ladder of ranks rewards you with a small collection of occasionally useful junk and probably plays some role in your matchmaking, but no one really knows exactly how much because they don't want you to know how bad you really are at this game. But no matter how bad you are, you can always spend more money to upgrade the rarity of your cards, busting them out of their frames, making them 3D for fun effects, and rendering them so shiny you have to squint every time you play them, so you can unlock more cards in this 80,000 level collection system. Now you can get access to the broken cards sooner and partake in the magic of donning your uniform and joining the cool club of people playing only the best clone meta decks you can find on the internet. Marvel Snap, the latest addictive free-to-play game that you really do want to stop playing. I've had a long-running and questionably healthy relationship with competitive card collecting games since the mid-90s with Magic the Gathering. Since then, I've drifted in and out of many of them, though now I at least stick with the ones that don't require me to spend quite as many fortunes to play. Yet while Marvel Snap is free and doesn't require you to spend money to be at least somewhat competitive, after you're drowning in new cards in the beginning, the deluge tapers off to a trickle of new cards as you progress. Then you'll start losing the cards you've never even seen before and may not get for many more hours through the tiered pull system that requires you to increase your collection level before it's even possible to randomly receive what you want. So it incentivizes you to spend money out of frustration when the game could probably do just fine selling you battle passes and the awesome artwork variants that you can find for every card. Which of course it does, in addition to the annoyance of facing off against cards you don't have. But the annoyance is just as much derived from the inconsistent balance and the design of the game. There seems to be a strong push toward the highly synergistic decks that center around 1 or 2 noteworthy cards that make matches extremely predictable as soon as you see them show up. But aside from the randomness of the lane reveals or a deck built specifically to counter them, there's little you can do outside of play your own synergized meta deck and hope that you get a better hand. It reminds me of the point where Magic the Gathering transitioned to heavy synergy themes like slivers, and creativity in deck design was now a minority to decks built to work together automatically. But that seems to be the foundation of Marvel Snap. I have seen a handful of creative decks out there, but even after 60 hours on PC and dozens more on my phone, the majority of the decks are so common you can spot them in the first 2 plays. The frustrations established by this system are a burden on the game, but they don't drag it all the way down. With the great card designs, the extra animations, many of them add, the dynamic tactics manipulated by the lane reveals, the entire extra level of strategy created by the snap mechanic, and the convenience and one more round ability of the matches taking only a few minutes, it's easy to understand why it's so addictive. Even while it still has some clunky interface features and somehow no way to see what cards have been destroyed or discarded for each player, despite that being affected by many of the cards in the game. These are things that are more confusing when you realize it's been out of early access for 5 months. While Marvel Snap has plenty of issues in its balance, monetization, and meta monotony, it does present an experience that is so accessible and entertaining that it's hard to put down. So it's getting the abbreviated score of OK. If you'd like to see more hot takes, warm satire, and tepid commentary about video games, make sure to like this video and check out more abbreviated reviews.